The stats are absolutely frightening. If you're not profoundly affected when you actually see what the figures are in Australia, it's crazy, because I think this is something that we can do. We're an affluent country. We're a country that gives a lot. We're a generous country, and yet still we have over 100,000 people that don't have a home.
The measure of a civilised society, or the measure of how civilised a society is how we care and support and help those who are less advantaged.
What we can't do is assume that there's one type of homelessness and have a cookie-cutter approach that assumes that everyone will respond to the same Band-Aid, to use your description.
If you think about the number of people who are sleeping homeless, it represents about, sort of 1/6 of the total number of people who are unemployed in Australia. And then it starts to go, hang on, we put so much emphasis on unemployment, justifiably, but of course unemployment and homelessness are so linked.
Could you imagine what it must feel like for a mother and a father to have to take their children out because they cannot put a roof over their heads? I mean, I think that that's just a terrible state of affairs, and I feel so much for those families.
My name is Maria Isabel Fuica. I'm born in Chile, in south of Chile, a small country town called Los Angeles. I was 26 years old when I came here. I heard about Australia need a lot of nurses. I started to work. They gave me a beautiful yellow envelope. And I asked them, I said, is this for a month's pay? Oh no, they said, it's for 1 week. From the first moment, seeing some money for my parents. I don't know if they needed or not, but the first thing you think, wow, all this money. One day I met Anita Maria's father, had a beautiful wedding. I'm going to be home after my baby born, so I worked until I was 8 months pregnant. When she was 6 weeks old, I found myself, I have to go back to work. The whole world came over me. The whole work is like the whole world come over me. I said, what? Yes, we have so many bills to pay, you can't stay home. Boy, I could not see myself leave my child 6 weeks old and go to work. But when I found myself with no choice, I found a babysitter, and that day was the longest day in my entire life. I tried to convince him to let me home, but no, I have to work because it's needed the money to pay the bill. If not, we're going to lose the house.
I think actually we've done quite a lot of work up to now, setting the foundations for the relief side. The work that needs to occur now, which is tougher and takes longer, is all about intervention and prevention.
Women and children, 62% of those over 100,000 people, they're women and kids out on the street. What part says you don't want to do something about that?
I'm an Australian. It's my responsibility. I think it's your responsibility. It's government's responsibility. It's business's responsibility. The homeless aren't coming from one particular genre, or you can't stereotype them. There's a lot of different types of backgrounds, and so we've all got to be responsible for lifting Australia up.
When you are in trouble, everything disappears, your friend, you just all alone. He got into a lot of debt, but he never told me anything. He said, Maria, if you don't go to work, we're going to lose the house, and put a lot of pressure on me, Then he started to separate me from my friend, from my hiding the letter from my family. And it started to be a lot of screaming and yelling, like no respect for that little one. And once he was so annoyed, he wanted to kill me. I don't know how I did it, but I said, no, I don't know, move with my child. You move out of this house. I work, I pay, you move. You know, I don't know how I did it. I did it and he left. And yes, from there started the divorce, all the accusation, all the difficulty. I was forced to go to psychiatrist. I was put an injection and medicine, more medicine in the hospital. When they want me to put an electric shock, boy, when I heard that, it was my turn the next day, because I saw a lot of them go there and never come back. And I said, no way, that's not for me. Anita Maria was about 5 years, and I said, darling, when you see people come in, you run out of the door, don't look back because I'm going to be behind you. So just go. And she went running out of the door, you know, and I ran myself behind her. I hold her on without stopping, you know, took her in my arm, and she was heavier. And I ran away from the hospital, because next day they're going to put me on electric shock. I stand up in the middle of the street with my child in my arm, and I made the bus stop. You know, I knew he won't run over me, so I'm just there until it stopped, you know. I said, please take me, and he opened the door and went in, and I went with Anita Maria, you know. If I was on my own, I wouldn't mind much. But it was my little one, my baby. How am I going to stay on the street with her? The matron in the hospital where I was working, she took me to Hellenberg to live with her. And then I was in women's refuge.
Right.
I was in women's refuge with Anita Maria too for quite some time. I don't feel a failure, never been a failure. Through the whole thing, they didn't even touch my happiness.